In this video, we're going to go over distributive property. So the distributive property allows you to take a factor and distribute it to each member of a group that is being added or subtracted. So if we look at the first example, 3 times the quantity x plus 6, 3 is your factor, and x plus 6 is the group. And since you can't add the quantity x plus 6 because x is a placeholder right now, we don't know the value of it, we can't combine x plus 6 at all. So our only two options are to leave our expression 3 times the quantity x plus 6 as it is, or to use the distributive property and multiply this out. So remember, if you see a number next to a set of parentheses like we have here, that means to multiply. That's the operation happening. So in algebra, you won't see a multiplication symbol. You won't see a multiplication dot. You'll just see a number next to a set of parentheses, or one set of parentheses next to another set of parentheses, and that means to multiply. So in this case, what we like to do is use arrows to show what we're multiplying. We would multiply 3 times x to get 3x. And since this is plus, we're going to do plus 3 times 6, and 3 times 6 is 18. And that's it. I've distributed 3 times the quantity x plus 6. You can also think of it this way. This would be 3 copies of x plus 6. And so if you have 3 copies of x, that's how you get the 3x. If you have 3 copies of 6, that's how you get the 18. All right, let's look at another example. So a couple things going on here in example 2. First of all, I want you to note that the factor that's being multiplied right here is negative. So we're going to multiply negative 2. And the group that we have in parentheses actually has 1, 2, 3 terms. And just be careful here, because since this is minus b, we could rewrite it as plus negative b. So that minus b makes the b negative. So just be careful. Watch your signs on your integer expressions. You don't want to make the mistake of having a negative when you should have a positive, and vice versa. All right, so let's distribute this. So I'm going to take negative 2 times a, which is negative 2a. And then I'm going to write a plus sign, and then I'm going to take negative 2 times negative b. Now don't forget that a negative times a negative is a positive. And then 2 times b would become 2b. And then don't forget that third term, negative 2 times positive 2. Now you could write this as plus negative 4, but the way you'll see it written in algebra class is just minus 4. So remember, since that 4 has a minus sign, it's negative. And that's it. That would be your solution, negative 2a plus 4. When you just
And in this example, we have 4 times the quantity x squared plus 3x minus 5. So again, this one has 3 terms. Our factor out front is a positive 4. And we're just going to go ahead and distribute. So this is 4 times x squared, which is just 4x squared. And then 4 times 3x, we're going to multiply together the coefficient of 3x, which is 3, times 4. 4 times 3 is 12, so we have 12 x's. And don't forget that third term. Now, since this is minus 5, you could think of it as plus negative 5. And then you'd have 4 times negative 5, which is negative 20. You could write that as plus negative 20, but we're going to write it as minus 20. And there is your solution. 4x squared plus 12x minus 20. All right, one more example you might see in algebra class when you distribute is a variable like a
times a group like x squared plus x plus 1. Now, don't let this scare you. If you had to see something like this, a times x squared would just be a x squared plus a times x would be ax plus a times 1 is just a. And that would be your solution. So you might see something like this from time to time, especially when we're doing things like proofs, but don't let a variable factor in your distributive property scare you from multiplying correctly.